What's up, people? Perry here with episode number 9. And here we are in the little crossroads area, the entrance to our palace. And what we're gonna do today, we're gonna get a lot of stuff done today. We're gonna finish up this area right here, this little crossroads area. Right now, it doesn't have too much detail, but by the end of this episode, I promise you, this area will pretty much be done. I want to say pretty much because, you never know with designs. I may come back to it later and put some other things in there. And, if I come up with a new idea, a better idea, you know what, that's gonna go in here too. But what I wanted to talk about first is these little lines here. As you can see here, I have the red wool and this glowstone, another red wool. And the thing about it is that these are not permanent. These are kind of like markers. And I just want to talk a little bit about how you can incorporate this into your build. Now, for me, it's kind of like a ruler. And whenever you're building something, especially something with symmetry, like you see here, or not symmetry, like the rhythm pattern that you have here, it's good to keep things nice and even. And in order for me to do that, I kind of just lay out these blocks like so. And it just helps me. It's kind of a quick gauge for me to kind of get everything in order so that I'm not fussing around with, counting off blocks and things of that nature. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we carry on with the rest of this episode was that, as you can see here, I kind of screwed up. I screwed up. If you're watching in the last episode, I was trying to get an evenness between all of these pillars here, and the same thing was going for this entrance here. So I wanted something that was square. So from this block to this block is, let's see, 4, it's 9. So it's 11 blocks in between. And so I wanted the same spacing between these here just to keep everything nice and even. And especially when I go ahead and start filling in on all the details, it just makes things a little bit easier for me to kind of figure out the spacing. But as it turns out, what ended up happening was, yeah, I think it was like 9 blocks between here and here. So I had to move these pillars just a little bit. And that kind of screwed up, I guess, my plans here, because you can see right here, yeah, it's not even anymore. And my idea for um, the whole domed archway here, it's kind of gotten shorter, but it's not bad. It's not bad. We will deal with it, and it'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. Oh, and some things that some people started to mention in the comments was that, instead of putting it in the middle so that as to not obstruct the view going up to the stairway, everybody thought it would be a good idea. Well, not everybody, but I noticed a few comments saying that it would be a good idea if I put two smaller fountains off to the side. And I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's it's a work in progress. Work in progress. Nothing's ever set in stone, but it's something that I'll think about. I will definitely think about. But I love the ideas that I'm getting from you guys. In all seriousness, I am really loving the ideas about. I'm seeing people saying like sink this place down, put my logo here, and also with the fountains. And you know what? That's what I love about doing YouTube is seeing all your wonderful comments and all the different ideas that you give me. And not only does it give me ideas as to what to do in each episode, it gives me ideas as to what to do to continue building what you see here. And a lot of my ideas have kind of been shaped by your comments. And I go into these builds with my own ideas, my own thoughts. But sometimes reading your comments, it really helps myself kind of focus it. And, sometimes I get an even better idea from one of you guys, and I tend to incorporate those into the build. And if I do, I always try to remember to at least give you at least some sort of credit. But yeah, yeah, that's all I want to talk about here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go off and we're gonna start building this up. And here we are in our little planning world. You can see over this orange wall here. You can see there's the palace in the background. And this is just somewhere where I like to go to kind of formulate my ideas and figure out just exactly what I want to do before I actually put it into the world. Now I know for some of you it's probably not the best idea, especially when you're placing blocks and then you want to put them in your world. It kind of makes it a little bit difficult. So, but for me, this just helps me get away from the actual build itself, and then I can just concentrate on the thing that I want to concentrate on, which in this case, it will be these arches right here. And so here's one of the arches from the little crossroads area at the entrance of our palace. And what we want to do is we want to add some girth to it. We want to add some girth. So this is what I came up with. And all it is just, if you notice here, there's the one block here. And then all I did was just add like a plus sign, just like that. And I did that all the way around the archway. And so that just gives it a little bit of depth, a little bit of detail to it, because this looks boring. I mean, you compare the two, look, that compared to that, I think I take that over that for sure. So the next thing that I wanted to do was to try and figure out, more detail. I wanted to put in something in there that would kind of break up the monotony of the archway. And this is what I came up with. You can see there's a... Oh, I didn't put glowstone in there yet, but I did have glowstone in there, and maybe that's in the later builds. I'm getting ahead of myself. But what I wanted to do here was kind of had like a little running theme as we went along, because these all connect together, right? So I thought that it would be a good idea to, start the whole connection between one pillar and the next by adding in these kind of, I don't know how to call it exactly. They're kind of like runners that go from this side to that side. I'll show you in a bit what I mean. But yeah, we started adding in these little bits here. And next thing we wanted to do was to figure out the middle area. And for that, I wanted to add in 2 arches here. So I have 2 arches, pretty much the exact same distance apart. Well, it is the exact same distance apart in our build. And what I wanted to do was to fill in the gaps in between. And that's where I came up with this. As you can see here, it's kind of, you can see the tops of the 2 archways, and then it's kind of bridged in the middle by this kind of domed thing here, and it looks kind of familiar. I don't know if you can see it, but can you see it? All right, can you see it now? Well, this is one of the things that I wanted to incorporate in my builds, especially between this build, this original build here, and the new palace that's being constructed, is that I kind of wanted like a general theme going on. And this is one of the ways I'm able to do it, was adding in, you can see here, again, we have the pillars, and then kind of like a dome structure in between. And that's kind of what I was going for with the little entrance area over there. And the reason why I do it is that a lot of architects, now I'm not saying that I'm an architect, I am far from being trained in doing something like that, but a lot of architects like to develop their own theme, whether it's through their experience in their life or, things that they see. But one of the things that you could do is you can Google a famous architect such as Frank Gehry, is one of my favorite architects. Personally, and if you just click on the little images button in Google, you'll see that he has a wide range of different designs and stuff, but there's an overall theme to it. And also, if you look up somebody like I want to say Gaudi, I forgot his first name. I can't remember Gaudi's first name, but if you look up his work, he has a little bit of a different approach to what he does. And the overriding factor between all that is that they've been classically trained. Well, they've been trained to do all these sort of things, and over time, it's molded them into the people that they are when they designed all the things that they designed. But you can tell that between the two of them, they're very different in terms of style. But in terms of comparing their own work, they have an overall theme. And that's kind of what I was going for here. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the first one to come up with this sort of like, between two pillars, put a dome in between, but, it's something that it helps me kind of merge everything together, keep a general theme going, helps the brain kind of, recognize that, oh, this is a Peri build. That must be a Peri build too. So, that's kind of what I'm going for. Something that you might think about whenever you're building some things, that develop your own theme, and it's kind of like a trademark, that you can at the end of the day say, you know what, that's one of my builds. I can recognize it immediately, and hopefully other people will be able to recognize it too. And once we got that out of the way, the next thing that we had to do is incorporate it into the actual build itself. Now we're not actually in the build. This is another little planning world that I have here, and again, it just helps me to kind of separate everything from the rest of the world. And then once I get a design that I actually like, then I can start to incorporate it in the main world. But you can tell there's a little bit of change here. For instance, these stained blocks right here are different from these ones right here. And what I was thinking was that it was a little bit too much red for me, so I thought, kind of perpetuate the rhythm a little bit more. You can see the rhythm as it goes along. You can see the, red, and then this, it's supposed to be light gray, but it's got a tinge of red into it, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But you can see it develops a little bit better rhythm as we go along through this build. And you know what? The red was just too much for me. It's just too much. So as you can see here, we have these little decorative elements here with the glowstone inside them, right? And this is one of the things that I had to figure out when I was building this, was that I turned this the day into night, and I figured out that it was a little bit too dark inside, so I had to figure out a bunch of lighting things because, as you know, I like to play in survival too, so preventing mobs from spawning is something that I will always think about, and, it's always something that you will think about whenever you're building in survival too, so just trying to figure out where to hide glowstone. Because I know for a lot of you, glowstone is something that it's not the best decorative element in the world, so you try to like put it in certain places. And for me, what I ended up doing was covering it with these half slabs, and I think they still shine through. They still shine through. Yeah, I think so. So what we want to do next is to fill in the gaps in the wall because they are pretty boring. If I could turn that off, get that out. There we go. But they're pretty boring. So what I ended up doing next was trying to figure out how to put them all together. So we started off with something like this. The next thing that I did was, well, I added in this glowstone runner here. And, that's still not enough. We wanted to add a little bit more depth to the wall. And again, when I say depth, it's just a little, terminology that I like to use whenever I say add in detail. So the next thing that I did was add in the runner, kind of continue along this line here, and I wanted to run it all the way down the build. Something for the eye to follow as it goes along. The next thing I wanted to do was try and figure out this middle area because this is still too boring. We gotta add in a little something else here. So what I ended up doing was just kind of playing around with a lot of the decorative blocks that you have here. You can see here all these just different size blocks, different shape blocks. I tried out putting stairs and just different looking things. Fences. I mean fences. That would be an idea if I wanted to put on a torch or something like that, but that wasn't really working out for me. So I came up with something like this. Now, here's one thing that I wanted to talk about. Before I talk about what I did here, that this is what's called brown stained glass, brown stained glass. So you might have noticed brown and red doesn't usually go together. It's not really, well, it can go together, but it depends on the factors and stuff like that. But one of the things that I learned in school, and one of the things that I was trained in, and if I can get a little glowstone on here, shed a little light. If you can look at the block, just look at it real closely. There's a little bit of a tinge of brown in it, right? So most colors are not always red or always blue. They're not completely red or blue. They have some sort of secondary color in it. And if you can ever find that out, if you can find out that secondary color that's in these blocks or in that color, it's a good complementary thing to add to any build. So it's another color that you can add that complements each other. So that's what I saw in this block. There's a little bit of a brown in it. So I ended up using this brown stained glass paint, if I can figure out how to speak English. And I feel it works. I feel it works together. And then I kind of ended up putting in these gray stained blocks. I don't know what's up with me today, but my English is totally off. I think I need to calm down. That's what I need to do. I need to calm down. But yeah, these stained clay blocks here. Again, I wanted to try and put together this whole thing. You know, incorporate this with that, and I think it kind of works. And as it turns out, it doesn't work. What I ended up doing was I took that design, and as you can see here, another thing about this world is I have a lot of the same thing, and this just allows me, again, it just allows me to kind of figure out what I want to do. But as you can see here, what I ended up doing was replicating that one design and putting it into each of these empty spaces here. And as it turns out, it's not very good. I don't like the way it looks. The shape kind of throws me off. It kind of, you know, it doesn't work. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it doesn't work. You know, it kind of takes away from the fact that I have these vertical lines going on here, but then I have this right here, and it kind of, the line kind of curves like that. So, you know, it's not really working for me. So what I came up with was something like this. A little bit more simple, a little bit better in terms of detail. So what I ended up doing was kind of, you know, farming myself along with these lines right here. So to continue the vertical pattern, I ended up, you know, continuing it here too. So again, the wall doesn't look as boring, but we still get that pattern that we want. So also, what else did I do to it? I added in more of this brown stained glass, and I don't know if that would work or not. That's something to think about. I kind of like that actually. I was just thinking about it just now. It's just one of those things that I saw. I was just looking at it. I was like, I wonder what it would be like if I extended that pattern down. But I kind of like it like that. So what we're going to do next is we're gonna go ahead and incorporate this into the rest of the build, and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. And when it's all said and done, we end up with something like this. And I like this a lot better. This looks, you know, the problem was that, you know, I kind of wanted to tie in this with this, but it just wasn't working. The vertical lines here work a lot better, and I think overall it'll end up being a good thing. But the next thing that I wanted to do was to concentrate on this floor lighting. Now the floor, I think at the end of the day, what will end up happening is that I will, you know, cover up these glowstone with probably some sort of carpet. But I think I want to get out some sort of even pattern, and right here, right in the middle, I think mobs can spawn here. If I can pull up F3, you can see right next to the word desert, the what I'm looking at is the block light level. I think that's where it is, the BL. And it says 6, and I think mobs can spawn on 7. So that doesn't really work for me. I think I want to try and put it here on the edges. I don't really want to put glowstone in the middle because I kind of just want to leave it open. Let's see, if I put glowstone there, then we'll stand in the middle again. That still says 6. Um, Might not work. Might not work. Need some sandstone on me. Here we go. But it's all about trial and error, right? Trial and error. But I think what we're gonna end up going with is just putting the old glowstone right in the middle there. I'll have to figure out some way of covering up. Again, probably with some carpet, but yeah, I think, yeah, block light level looks real good here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll see you just a bit. And here's a look at the final product. Well, the finished product, finish-ish project. If it's one thing you're going to know about me, and I've said this many times in numerous episodes, is that nothing is ever done in my world. There's always something to be improved, something that you can always put down. But, whoa, is that a different color? No, it's not. It's just the glowstone. But yeah, I feel this kind of works together. One of the best parts that it kind of happened by accident, but you can see here you can see the sandstone up top there in between in the hole here. I really liked how it turned out because you have the light and then the dark, and then you got the darkest sandstone there. Really gives it a little something extra. So I feel that this build right here is something that it kind of fills out the area quite nicely, but it's not too complicated in that, you know, it doesn't distract you too much, but I feel that it's got a really good flow to it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. What we're going to do in the next one is we're going to start to expand everything. We are going to ramp up construction. We're going to add in a whole ton of things, you know, get exponentially larger, because I know that I want to get a lot of this layout done, and in order to do that we're going to have to clear out a lot of these mountains here. I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm not going to just do it with MC Edit. We're going to do it a little bit more spectacularly, of course, right? So that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. I really like responding to comments. I really like hearing your ideas as to what else I could put in this world. Don't forget to also leave a like, because that really helps me out a lot. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Keeps you up to date on all the things that are going on in it. So that's it from me. Always remember, keep your head up, and I'll see you in the next one.